The man who was minister at the time the government entered into all those power purchase agreements is Dr. Kwabena Donkor. Dr. Kwabena Donkor, apologies again. He is member of parliament for Pro East and former minister for power. Doc, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you.
You've heard the World Bank country director. He says that the problems we are facing now could be, blamed on the actions you took while you were in office, you and your boss at the time.
I totally disagree, and I rather would call the gentleman a partisan politician than a World Bank country director, because that is what he's proven to be. This is somebody who was Minister of Finance in Seychelles Republic. He was a Minister of Trade. He was a governor of the central bank, and he's a presidential aspirant. He needs friends in the sub-region, and therefore I am not surprised that he's mixing fairy tales with facts. The fact of the matter is that if you take the 2022 Energy Commission projected national energy demand, there was hardly any excess capacity. In fact, in some months, we were eating into our reserve, our redundancy. So the issue of excess capacity is a green herring, and that should be discounted. He talks about the PPAs we are signed crowding out green energy. As we speak, the most viable form of green energy in Ghana is solar power. Can he tell me the cost of stored solar power if solar power is to be used as base load? Storage technology is at a level where if you are storing 2 megawatts of solar power, the cost will be in excess of what we pay for thermal plants at the moment because of storage. If you are using it without storage, then the price of solar is dropped and it's cheaper than thermal power today. But how do you store? Remember, our peak demand is from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Where is the solar going to come from? And can you use the solar as base load for industry? No. So unfortunately, he's missed the point. Yes, power purchase agreements were signed, and a number of them were emergency power purchase agreements. They have lapsed. And the government has found it necessary to sign new contracts. They have extended others and signed other new contracts. As we speak, there are 2 new power purchase agreements with AXA because the original emergency power purchase agreement has lapsed. Both still contain elements of pay or take. So what is he talking about? Our biggest challenge is efficiency. Efficiency in collection. Efficiency in running the commercial leg of the power chain. That is where we have our biggest challenge. And then, of course, the other big challenge, which is our exchange rate. The tariffs are payable in USD. And the revenue is collectible in Citi, GHC. Let's take, for example, 1st January 2017, the exchange rate was 4 cedis, 14 pesos to the dollar. Yesterday, the exchange rate was 11 cedis, 19 pesos to the dollar. So if you are collecting cedis and you are paying dollars and the exchange rate deteriorates at this rate, I think that is one of the biggest challenges you have in the sector. And I will expect the World Bank and its organization, IMF, with their role in the management of the macroeconomy, to do more to create efficiency, to create currency stability, both in our monetary and fiscal policy. and not throw out tantrum. And I call this tantrum.
Doc, can a World Bank country director make a comment without the tacit endorsement of the World Bank itself? So that you were saying that he made this comment to satisfy his own parochial interests because of his political aspirations.
Absolutely.
But surely the World Bank is not going to allow its vehicle to be used by someone who has their own individual agenda?
Well, was he not quoting from a Ghana government document?
What's your point? I'm just saying that I'm not sure he makes that comment without the clearance from the World Bank.
Well, he's the country representative.
So I'm saying that the World Bank may not be doing the bidding of the governing party. A person may be, but he cannot act. And you know how diplomacy works. And these people, they cannot make a comment until they get clearance. I'm sure he got clearance from Washington, though.
He had stepped into partisan politics by some of the statements he made. I mean, if the statements were factual, I will eat humble pie. For example, the Ameri power plant is the cheapest power plant in Ghana in terms of tariff levelized over the 20 years. And I mean, it is accepted. And we have had periods. Look, we pay for a T3. The T3 costs us in excess of $250 million. Has it ever generated a kilowatt of power? That is not costing Ghana. That is not costing Ghana.
All right.
The highest tariff ever in the history of Ghana in terms of thermal plant was a transformer plant, where a tariff of 29 cents per kilowatt hour was charged in 2006, 2007. So when he speaks this way, I would not have had a problem if he said, "Oh, some of the power purchase agreements in the light of present non-emergency, we should be looking at restructuring them." That is fine. But when you go the hawk of which he went, it was being partisan, and I'm sure the facts do not support his partisanship. That is the point I'm making.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Doc.